The secret of how to make your ex miss you seems like a pretty obvious answer, but it isn't. Most people will tell you, oh, if you want her to miss you, then just don't contact her, ignore her, and then she's going to miss you. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. But the reality is, if a woman doesn't have feelings for her ex-boyfriend, fiance, or husband anymore, and he starts ignoring her, it might make her miss him a little bit, but in a lot of cases, it just gives her time to move on and forget all about him. So if you are one of the many guys who've made the mistake of ignoring your ex in the hopes that it will make her come running back to you, what should you do instead? Here's what you need to do. Interact with her, actively make her have some feelings for you when you interact with her, and then step back for a few days. So for example, interact with her via text, on a phone call, or in person if you can. Make her feel a renewed sense of respect and attraction for you when you're interacting with her, and then step back for a few days. Give her a space for a few days so she can actually miss how good it feels to interact with you these days. Then contact her again and repeat the process until you get her back. So by interacting with her and making her feel something for you, making her have some feelings for you, for example, feelings of respect, attraction, and love, when you do that and then step away for a few days, give her space for a few days, it allows her to miss you a bit. The first time a guy tries it, it's not going to necessarily get his ex back in every situation. Sometimes it will in the easy cases, but in the difficult cases where the woman doesn't want anything to do with her ex-boyfriend, fiance, or husband, if he interacts with her, actively makes her have some feelings for him, and then ignores her, she might miss him, but she's not necessarily going to come running back to him saying, oh, I want to be back with you, please, let's get back together, let's catch up, etc. In really difficult cases, sometimes a guy has to repeat that process 3 or 4 times and then the woman really wants to get back together with him. However, he shouldn't just keep repeating the process of interacting with her, stepping away and not doing anything about it. What he needs to do is make sure that he's stepping up the significance of the interaction. So, say for example, he starts out by actively making her have some feelings for him via text, for example, getting her laughing and smiling, making her feel good. Then the next time he contacts her, he must get her on a phone call, and he must make her have some feelings for him on the phone call. Then the next time he contacts her, if he's not able to arrange that when he calls her the first time, he needs to get her to meet up with him in person so he can then make her have some feelings for him in person. A lot of guys are able to get their woman back at that point, but if you aren't able to get her back at that point, don't worry about it. You can actively make her have feelings for you in other ways when you're not even interacting with her. You can start to plant seeds in her mind where she starts to miss you and want to be with you, she forgives you, she starts to reconnect with the love. All of that is possible. I'm going to continue helping you throughout this video, but I just want to point out before I continue on that if you do need a lot of help, you don't know what to say or do to make her have feelings for you, miss you, want to be with you, forgive you, etc. All of that is explained in my step-by-step program, Get Your Ex Back Super System. It's 10 hours of video that you can begin watching immediately. When you finish watching the video, you will be ready to start interacting with her and making her have feelings for you again, getting her to forgive you, getting her to hook up with you again, and want to be in a relationship with you again. So going back to the process of getting her to miss you, by actively interacting with her and making her have some feelings for you again, and then stepping back, she then starts to think of you in a positive light and begins to forget about the bad times. She begins to think, why am I having feelings for him all of a sudden? Why do I miss him? Why am I feeling good about him now? Why am I not so concerned about how bad the relationship was near the end? Why do I feel differently now? The reason why she feels differently about you is that you have been actively making her have feelings for you again. You've been actively triggering feelings like respect, attraction, and love. You've been doing that while interacting with her. That's why the old saying of absence makes the heart grow fonder isn't always correct. That saying is about when someone is absent that you respect and love and feel attracted to, then the heart grows fonder. But if a woman is broken up with you and she doesn't want anything to do with you, she doesn't have feelings for you, and then you ignore her and you're hoping that that makes her miss you, then the absence, the space, the time apart isn't going to necessarily make her want to come back and be with you. It might make her miss you a bit and think, oh, I don't have him in my life anymore, but it really doesn't work on a lot of women because the woman usually just moves on, or she keeps focusing on the negatives of the relationship, and then she finds a guy who has different qualities about him that her ex was missing, and she feels happy in the new relationship and she just moves on. So that's why I don't recommend guys waste time ignoring their ex and hoping that if they just ignore her for long enough, then she'll realize how much she misses him and she'll come running back. It's just not an effective approach to use. It does work in a very small percentage of cases. For example, where the woman doesn't have much experience with relationships and breakups and she can't deal with the pain of the breakup and she comes running back, or she can't find a new guy, etc. But in most cases, the woman just uses the time when a guy is ignoring her to move on, to find a new guy and to forget all about him. So if you want your ex to miss you, you've got to be active. You've got to actively interact with her and make her feel something for you. Of course, not every guy can actively interact with his ex, because sometimes a guy's in a situation where his ex has blocked him on social media, she won't answer his calls, she won't reply to his texts, she just won't see him at all. So how is he going to actively make her have some feelings for him again? What a guy needs to do is use whatever communication method is available to him with his ex to get a message through to her so he can then get her on a phone call. So say for example a worst case scenario where a guy has only got access to his ex via email. She's blocked him on her phone, she's blocked him on social media, and he can only send her an email. What he needs to do is send her an email saying something like this: "Hey Jenny, I know that we're broken up and I accept that, but there's something quick that I wanted to ask you over the phone. So if you can just unblock me for a day or answer the phone tomorrow, I'm going to call you up and have a quick conversation with you. If you don't ever want to talk to me after that, that's totally fine. I will accept that." What he needs to do then is get her on a phone call and use that interaction as an opportunity to make her feel something for him. He needs to create a spark of attraction again. He needs to get her laughing and smiling. He needs to allow her to see that he has changed. He's talking differently and he's reacting to her differently. It's not the same old version of him. Another example is where a guy has got access via phone so he can actually call her up. If he calls her up and she doesn't answer, he can send her a text message saying, "Hey Jenny, it's Dan here. There's just something quick I wanted to ask you over the phone. I guess you're busy at the moment. I might try to call you another time." In most cases, a woman will then text back and then the guy can call her up and get her on a phone call. On the phone call, he needs to spark her feelings of respect and attraction for him. So if a guy has been blocked or his ex is ignoring him, essentially what he needs to do is get to the point where he can have an interaction with her on a phone call or in person. The reason for that is when you interact with your ex on the phone and in person, she can experience the new and improved version of you much better than just via text. So say for example he had an interaction with her on the phone and he got her laughing and smiling and she was feeling good. He then needs to give her some space for a few days to let her miss him. On the second phone call, a guy can usually then get his woman to meet up with him. By the way, if you need help getting your ex back and you don't know what to say or do at each step of the process, you don't know what to text her, you don't know what to say on the phone to get her to meet up with you, you don't know what to say in person to get her to forgive you and give you another chance, all of that is explained in my program, Get Your Ex Back Super System. So if you're serious about getting your woman back, don't make the mistake of ignoring her and wasting a lot of time sitting around hoping that if you just ignore her, then she will miss you and her life will be sad and lonely without you. It's really an ineffective strategy and it usually causes a woman to feel like she needs to move on and find another guy, either to get emotional revenge on her ex-boyfriend, fiance or husband for ignoring her, or just to make herself feel better and get a new relationship so she's not feeling sad and lonely and rejected and confused about why her ex isn't contacting her. Of course, when I say to contact your ex and interact with her, I'm not talking about contacting her in a needy way, in an insecure way, trying to convince her to give you another chance, promising that things will be different, begging, pleading, etc. What I'm talking about is interacting with her, and when you interact with her, you use that as an opportunity to make her feel something for you. You've got to make her have some type of feelings for you again. Feelings like respect, attraction, and love. You've got to be triggering that. When you do that, a woman's guard naturally comes down, she opens up to you, she starts to look at you differently, think about you differently, and she becomes open to texting with you, talking to you on the phone, meeting up with you in person, getting intimate again, and giving the relationship another chance.